It's about creating a community that is dynamic, that has the ability to reinvent itself in a way that it didn't think of before.
Arts and culture, though, is often left off the table when comprehensive revitalization strategies are being formed or implemented. They're often thought of as extra, or things to make them look pretty, or they're just not thought of at all.
And that is the essential dimension that makes a community a home. It makes people want to be there. It's the expression of who they are in a place, and it's not on the radar. So the integration of that is huge.
Our opportunity at Kresge is to promote that integration of arts and culture into those comprehensive revitalization efforts, which is our simple definition of creative placemaking.
When the creative process manifests in the public realm, you see magic happen. You see people engage in ways that they haven't engaged before.
Could be public and transit-oriented development and the role that arts and culture could play in that. Artisans from a particular community could open their own businesses, so there could be small businesses and where creatives are selling their wares.
It will feel like a community, that everybody's involved in some shape, form, or fashion. There's contributions and benefits given to everybody involved, and you can see that in the various activities.
If you're walking through a neighborhood where creative placemaking is at work, there are going to be moments that are awe-inspiring. There's going to be something on the street that is going to make you stop and go, wow.
Many times when I think folks miss the mark, it's by saying, oh, we're going to have lots of tourists come into the area, and we're going to open up some big glitzy shops. That's not what we're talking about. The type of creative placemaking that we're interested in is about what's really happening in a community, and it's really impacting and providing benefit to people in low-income areas, in traditionally disinvested neighborhoods.
The thinking behind creative placemaking and economic impacts is that if you have cultural assets in a community, that authentic cultural assets in the community, that this is going to attract vibrancy, it's going to attract activity and economic exchange.
And so what are the market conditions in a particular neighborhood? What are the assets and what do they contribute, and what assets can be added? Sometimes there are economic impacts from the activities that occur related to creative placemaking, but not always. Sometimes the impacts are social.
When there's crime in the streets, it's not easy to want to open your door to people that you don't know, and often creative placemaking can develop a process for folks to engage in public spaces in really productive ways, to develop a new social connectivity, a web or a network, if you will, that builds trust among neighbors.
So their ideas, their talent and interest is being tapped into in a genuine and rich way. We're doing this with you, with your ideas, with your voice.
What creative placemaking allows us to do is expand the way that we think about the way we live in our communities, or the way that people want to engage in their communities. And when you embed arts and culture into those fundamental elements, or when you elevate them because they're already there, then those are rich opportunities, and you don't want to lose that. Why would we want to lose that opportunity? They are bulldogs, because this work requires a very long time. It's not about a quick fix or prettying up a place. It's years of working, and it is kind of the blood, sweat, and tears, but it's working with different organizations, neighborhood associations, and residents, seeing those come and go, and the political issues that go along with that.
They have to be able to work across sectors, speak different languages, whether that's community development language, arts and culture language, health systems language.
They are visionaries. They have to be. and they have to actually be really strong leaders from the perspective of having the vision and then building a coalition of the willing and having people around you that have different skills. And it's about having the endurance because you're in it for the long haul.
Developing a pipeline for creative placemakers in the community is really important. Creative placemaking is a way to accelerate leadership development in the community. Philanthropy is 21st century risk capital. It allows people to take bigger, bolder steps to make their places better.
We want to do work that's going to be durable, sustainable, even in the light of change, and that the people there are committed and open to new ideas, new people, new processes, and leaving them a structure to be able to continuously do that.
What we've seen when we see a good creative placemaking project is that there's clearly a shared understanding of the future of that community, that they have a shared vision of what that looks like.
I've traveled all across the country and have talked with communities that are large and communities that are small and intimate, and they have hope for the future because of the creativity that's inherent in their place.
Especially because it is a new field, at least for Kresge, and we'll be testing different approaches. There's always the risk of failure, but I think that there's always something to learn from.
And I think for us, we embrace that because without risk, there is no success.
There are lots of opportunities to pull out lessons learned and best practices that might help to propagate this idea of creative placemaking and have more of it happen across the country.
In order to be successful, cities are going to have to be dense, diverse, animated, and interesting. That only happens when arts and culture are at the heart of communities.
In efforts to disempower communities, often what happens first is you strip away arts and culture, you kill the poets. You take away that authentic ability to express, to ask questions, to be critical, to use your whole self. And if that's a strategy to disempower, then why wouldn't strategies to empower do the opposite? Why wouldn't they bring the culture back?